Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain areas of human rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
My fellow Americans, it is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. Yes, indeed, we are live again this evening. It is Tuesday, January the 29th in the year of our Lord 2013. Yes, broadcasting from the state that says, live free or die. Does not say, the state motto does not say big government or bust. Another quick, we're calling this the Express, the Rod Eccles Show Express, because it's only an hour again this evening. It's only going to be an hour for the rest of the week. It's also tax season. And tax season is always harrowing for a lot of people. In fact, I got a sponsor here that I'm just waiting for them to send me over their ad spot. But tax season is just, it's awful. It's the one thing, you're always told the more you practice, the more experience you get with something, the more you do something, the better and easier, the better you get at it and the easier it gets, except when it comes to taxes. It seems like taxes in this country, no matter how experienced you are, no matter how many times you've done them, it seems like just about for everybody, every year, the taxes get harder and more complicated. And, I got to tell you, it's really no different with me. Even people who do it professionally, accountants. I mean, can you imagine all the people that would be? Look, there's one reason that it's very difficult to get true tax reform, and you people should know this, because thousands upon thousands upon thousands of accountants would be out of a job if we simplified our tax system. If we really simplified it, just scrap the current code and just simplified the whole damn thing. I mean, you're talking unemployment among accountants that would probably rise 50% at minimum. Why would you need? I mean, the reason why we need them is really isn't so much for our accounting on a daily basis, but it's for tax season. It's for taxes. Keeping the IRS off your back, 364 days out of the year. Yeah, I know a lot of people think, well, the only time you use an accountant is, during tax time. No, it's not. I mean, those guys are needed. Those professionals are needed to keep your butt out of a sling, an IRS sling, all year long. And if we simplify, now we just complicated the tax code even more. I know some people are thinking, well, what did they do now? Well, Obamacare. and they put the enforcement of Obamacare, this monstrosity, in the lap of the IRS. Look, the IRS is the most. A lot of people think that our military is brutal, or the FBI can be brutal, or the CIA is brutal, or the more secretive NSA is brutal. No, the most brutal department in our federal government, in our federal bureaucracy, is the IRS. The NSA, sure, and CIA, in military, they can track you. The FBI and the Justice Department, they can make you disappear, throw you in jail, under trumped up. But IRS is the only one that can take everything that you have without a court appearance and make your life a living hell. And then after they've made your life a living hell, they can throw you in jail for years. Oh, ask Wesley Snipes. And it's the one area where it seems that our form of judicial process does not compute. The innocent until proven guilty. When it comes to the IRS, you are guilty until they let you be proven innocent. Really. The IRS said you did it, and they always seem to get the last word. I mean, it's rare when a court or a judge, unless it's something really major, but it's rare for people to have to go to court against the IRS and win. A lot of people say, well, you can beat the IRS only when they let you. You can only win when they let you. It's the most brutal government body that we have. Really, I mean, seriously, everybody's kind of afraid of the IRS. You don't want to run afoul of them. I mean, you can even play by their rules, and there are people that have played by the IRS rules and using IRS agents to do their tax returns, and they come to find out, well, they were wrong, but it's not their fault; it's yours, and you have to pay. The IRS will tell you, getting your tax return wrong by utilizing IRS agents, getting the advice from the IRS is no excuse for getting your tax return wrong. They tell you that. They're not responsible for getting your taxes wrong. You could have the Secretary of the Treasury, or you could have the Secretary of the IRS. You could have the head IRS guy do your taxes for you. And if he gets it wrong, you're responsible. And you have to pay the piper. They tell you, the IRS tells you that. So, I know it's, and that's wrong. I mean, if the one people, body of people that should know what you can and cannot do with taxes should be people that work for the IRS. But hell, the tax code is so big. What is it now? It's over 50,000 pages, right? I don't know the exact number, but Obamacare just tossed on thousands of more pages, but it's at least 50,000 pages. Who the hell is going to know everything that's in that code? The tax code, nobody can. And every year it just got more complicated because of the fiscal cliff crisis agreement. So your 2013 taxes due in April of 2014 are going to be even more complicated than they are this year. Add to that the fact that Obamacare starts to really fully implement in 2014. It's starting right now in 2013, but it really fully implements in 2014. And so you add all that, and things are going to get really complicated really quick. And you're going to see, 90,000 more IRS agents out there fanning out? But this time they won't be necessarily making sure that you pay your taxes in full. They'll be out there making sure that you actually have government-approved minimal health insurance coverage. Hey, you folks, I didn't vote for this, but enough of you folks out there in the USA did vote for these jackasses, so you did vote for this. I know there are people that are saying, "Well, I didn't vote for this." Yeah, did you vote for Obama? Did you vote for Harry Reid? Did you vote for this person or that person who supports this kind of stuff? And they'll inevitably say, or invariably say, "Well, yeah, well, you voted for this." Look, it may not have been what you wanted or intended, but it's what you voted for. And nobody has when it comes to when you're looking at voting records like this and who you're voting for. Nobody's got a perfect voting record. Not even I. I don't have a perfect voting record. But you got to understand, you got to start holding these people accountable. If they do things in their term that you do not like, then you don't vote for them again. But you people do. And I know I have been, I have thought of this. I have been guilty of this, voting for the person because, well, he's better than the other person. Well, that's not a good enough excuse to vote for somebody. I mean, the lesser of two evils is not a good enough excuse should not be a good enough excuse to get anybody's vote. And I know even I look around in frustration and think about the choices I have because I'm also logical. You have to, I always say, and I still say it, even though oftentimes, unfortunately, it is not the best possible choice that we possibly could make. You have to go with the most conservative candidate that can win. And when it came down to the last election, presidential election, we had a choice between two people, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. Now, no, Romney is not a conservative, and there's no way that I would ever believe that he is or was. But it came down to the point of doing what again? Voting for the lesser of two evils, and Romney was far the lesser of two. And there are people now that are thinking this, and I'm like, hello, McFly. You voted for him last time, and then you knew all the things that he did then, and now you voted for him again, and you think, well, yeah, I think maybe he's, overreaching his boundaries as president. Well, why did you vote for him? Because I didn't like Romney. Well, why do you not like Romney? Because he's, he's Romney. He sucks. What? Give me a reason. Because you think he sucks look, it's not a reason. When I vote for somebody, I can tell you exactly why I vote for them. When I dislike somebody in the political arena, I can tell you exactly why I don't like them. And it won't be something obscure like they suck. But a lot of people, they just go with the soundbite stuff, and they can't tell you why they vote for a particular person. They can't tell you. And it's your responsibility as an American citizen and as a voter to know exactly why you do support someone. Now, I wasn't fully back, in the primaries, I didn't back Romney because he wasn't conservative enough. He wasn't a true conservative. But when it came time that he was the nominee for the Republican Party, good or bad, he was a nominee. And he was still infinitely better than Obama on many issues, many important issues. Not just one issue, but many important issues. So I could tell you why I voted for Romney in November of 2012 and not Obama. And I can tell you why I did not vote for Obama in 2012. And I can tell you why I didn't vote for Obama in 2008. Give you specific reasons. Did I like McCain? Not really. Did I like George W. Bush? Not really. But, we have had ever since Reagan, this country has gone more and more and more and more towards the voting for the lesser of two evils. And you think we would have learned with George Herbert Walker Bush not to throw a hissy fit like little children in the voting booth, because then we got Clinton for 2 terms. Hello? Oh, a lot of people said, well, Clinton was better than Dole. I doubt that would have been the case. But Clinton definitely wasn't better than George Herbert Walker Bush. But, look, they threw it because, read my lips. And then he gave us new taxes and American people threw a hissy fit. But this is the funny thing. They threw a hissy fit over George W. Bush raising their taxes a little bit. They reelected Clinton when he retroactively raised their taxes quite a bit. And they reelected Obama when he's about to raise your taxes and government fees a lot. But a Republican president raising taxes just a little? No, we can't have that. It really gets to the point where you really want to throw your hands up and just say, oh, well, I give up. I'm just going to go live the hermit life somewhere, and the rest of y'all, when the economy crashes and society falls apart, y'all can fight it out. And me and all the doomsday preppers and other conservatives who have guns, we'll just hunker down and let y'all eat each other up. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Sometimes I wish I could. Just turn my back on the whole thing and just say the hell with it. But I can't, because I believe our country, as our founding fathers founded this nation, is worth the trouble and effort. I believe it's worth it. We're worth it. As children of God, we're worth the freedom and liberty that George Washington and all those old white men gave us. It's worth defending. It's worth fighting for. And so I have to continue. Because when it's no longer worth it, which will probably be never, then when it's no longer worth it, then I'll stop fighting for it. But until that day, look, I don't care where you come from. I don't care which country that you live in or that you used to live in. Having the freedom to be a human being, a child of God, is much better than having the government trying to take care of you. Plain and simple. No questions asked. You cannot give me a logical argument against it. Plain and simple. But, well, there's a fight brewing, as if we didn't already know this. And it's a fight over immigration. And immigration is a hot topic. And one of the things that Republicans, conservatives don't get this wrong, but Republicans do. They have this notion that they have to be, kind and lenient and understanding about immigration because it's all about Latinos. And if they want to get the Latino vote and have Latinos included in the Republican Party, they've got to go along with some sort of amnesty type of legislation for immigration reform. Hello, there are no Latinos elected on the Democratic side in Congress. They're all Republican. They don't see that. Republicans don't see this. If they do, they're ignoring it. It's also a fact that many Latinos who've immigrated here legally or who've gone through the process of doing things legally. Maybe they came here and sought political asylum. They went through that process. They're not happy about all the illegals. They're not. And as a matter of fact, the only Latinos, it seems, that are for this type of amnesty are relatives of the lawbreakers from Mexico, usually. I hate to really name out an ethnic group, but it's, the vast majority are Mexicans. I've got Mexican friends. Nothing against Mexicans. Love Mexican food, love the people. But a lot of my Mexican friends will tell you that they're not happy with illegals because they came here legally. They don't like these people getting to cut the line. I mean, some of them are saying, you know what? They're here illegally, but I've got relatives that are still trying to get in this country legally. They're still 7 years. One person says that his parents have been waiting 7 years to come here legally. 7 years. And Republicans think that they've got to allow these 11 million illegals a fast track to citizenship. That's just wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. But anyway, the GOP needs Hispanics. If there's one thing conservative pundits can agree on, it's that on that they need. Well, they need all. Look, they need all the ethnic backgrounds. Was it 2040 or 2050? Or maybe it's before that. But, ethnic whites will be a minority in this country. We're going to be overrun by it. Well, you better bone up on your Spanish, people. That's all I have to say about that. But as for this new immigration deal, this is a Politico story. Well, that's another matter altogether. And it's one that's creating a split between the Republican Party's most influential media voices. Karl Rove supports the so-called plan that's out there now, where Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity oppose it. He'll add my name to the opposing. It's not. We've tried this type of quote-unquote reform. Reagan did it. Against his better judgment, Reagan did it and gave amnesty to some 3 million illegals. And as I mentioned last night, did we get rid of that problem? No. Why? Because there is no other mechanism that is built into the proposal to clamp down on illegal immigration. How about first we stop the influx of new people coming across the border illegally? How about we start enforcing our current laws first? Then once we do that, once we get that down, it'll be easier to decide what we should do about those who are already here. Even McCain says, there's, he doesn't like the new thing. And then there's something else in hidden in this thing. Obama's got a gay marriage immigration plan. Obama's gay marriage immigration plan's red flag for conservatives. The whole damn plan is a red flag. But in a major policy speech in Las Vegas Tuesday afternoon, early this afternoon, President Obama has included same-sex couples in his proposals for immigration reform, according he said it. Now think about this, folks. Now, this is at a time where we got a couple of states that all of a sudden, in 2 or 4 years, turned around and decided to vote for gay marriage, make it legal within their states, as well as now the Boy Scouts talking about, well, maybe it's time that we give up our so-called anti-gay stance. Look, it's not anti-gay. I'm getting a little tired of this. Well, if you don't let me do it, you're anti-gay. Well, no, because the Boy Scouts don't allow bestiality people to participate in the Boy Scouts. They don't allow a polygamist, known polygamist. They don't allow known pedophiles. Sure, there have been some scout leaders that were pedophiles, but when they found out, they went to jail. But all of a sudden now, well, if you do, it's a stance on their beliefs. This is what they believe. They're kind of a quasi-Christian organization. It's what they believe, and they're not against gays. They're not against homosexuals. They just do not approve of their sexual lifestyle, and they don't want to support that. But because they don't want to support all these other alternative lifestyles, they're anti-gay. Well, what about the rest of the alternative lifestyles? No, they're just anti-gay. So Obama's got this part of his agenda that he wants to allow, even though marriage on a national level, from the federal government standpoint, it's not legal, it's not recognized. But he wants people that are gay marriage that the dual couples, where one couple or one member of the union is an American citizen and the other is a foreigner. Just like straight couples. Usually the husband is. It's not always the case, but usually the husband is the American citizen and the wife is from a foreign country. And because of that, they get preferential treatment in getting into the country and getting their green cards and getting their citizenship and all that kind of stuff. And now he wants to extend that to gay married couples. Well, I guess if you want to if you want to say fair is fair, I suppose it is fair. But you got to ask yourself, first of all, I know some people are saying, well, Rod, you're just anti-gay. I am far from anti-gay. What I have said, and what I still say, and I'm going to stand by it, is that it's none of the government's business who you marry. It is a religious ceremony and a civic ceremony, not a governmental ceremony. Never should have been, never should be. Therefore, there should not be any tax code either that either discourages or encourages marriage. Society as a whole should be free without government interference in deciding what to promote. And frankly, if it were left up to the citizenry, they would be promoting straight heterosexual marriage, not gay marriage. As we see in many states that have voters either voted against gay marriage or they voted to put as a part of their constitution that marriage is the union between one man and one woman. Now, notice that they left out the polygamist. I don't see any polygamists marching down the road, in the streets and wanting their rights. Just saying. And to attach this to an immigration bill, well, that's another red flag. Here's the deal. Folks, we have laws in the books that deal with immigration. We have laws in the books that deal with immigration. What our government is supposed to do is it's supposed to, without reservation, enforce the laws that are on the books. Plain and simple. There's no questions about it. So you enforce the laws that are on the books, and then you deal with whatever the laws don't cover or can't handle at a later date. Again, plain and simple. But I know. Our especially when liberals are concerned, nothing is simple.
I always loved watching the kids play basketball. I still do, even though things have changed. It's funny, they can't find jobs to get their careers started. And I can't afford to retire. And now we're all living together again. I supported President Obama because he spoke so beautifully. He promised change, but things changed for the worse. Obama started spending like our credit cards have no limit. His healthcare law made health insurance even more expensive. We've had stimulus and bailouts. Obama added almost $16,000 in debt for every American. How will my kids pay that off when they can't even find jobs? Now Obama wants more spending and taxes. That won't fix things. I had so many hopes. Cutting taxes and debt and creating jobs. That's the change we need. Tell President Obama to cut the job-killing debt and support the New Majority Agenda at newmajorityagenda.org.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Today is a special day. Today we gather as a nation and as an international community to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. She's been recognized by religious figures and politicians around the world. To us, she's just Rachel. But to the rest of the world, she is the woman who, after having one too many drinks, chose not to drive home buzzed. Here today to honor Rachel is the family whose lives she spared.
Save a life. Don't drive buzzed. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I was in chronic pain, and my family struggling to make ends meet, food and gas prices going up, even keeping my job was iffy. Then I learned about a new miracle drug made in Washington, D.C., Spenditol. Spenditol is Washington's answer to all the painful problems Americans face. How to borrow $800 billion for a stimulus that didn't create jobs or fix the economy? Spenditol.
Spenditol is not for everyone. Side effects may include a mountain of government debt piled on our kids, a sudden loss of freedoms, higher prices for everything, leaving our kids a lesser America than we had. Ask your doctor or congressman if your conscience is strong enough for Spenditol.
And it's so popular in Washington, we have to import trillions more of it from China. Spenditol makes you feel better now and pushes off the really bad stuff till later, for them to deal with.
Call the White House and Congress. Tell them, stop spending it all.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Charities. This is a Yahoo News story from livescience.com. Charities funnel millions to climate change denial. I love how they always say this, denial. That it's climate change denial. I'm not denying anything. See, in order to deny something, it actually has to be happening, and it has to be factual. And since man-made climate change is not factual, there's nothing to deny. Since there's no truth to it, there's nothing to deny. But here's a story. Charities funnel millions to climate change denial. And, unfortunately, denial is not a river in Africa. I know that's an old joke. I mean, anybody tired of hearing that? Well, when it's apropos, it's apropos. And for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Ria Linda, you'll have to look that one up. Yeah, I know that's probably a $50 word for them. A British newspaper claims to have discovered the convoluted way oil billionaires in the United States can funnel huge amount of cash towards climate change denial campaigns while reaping tremendous tax advantages in the process. Oh, it's, they're not doing anything illegal, but it's still a convoluted way, and they're reaping tax advantages from it. Oh, is that anything like Al Gore profiting from oil? In Al Gore's convoluted way of making hundreds of millions of dollars on carbon credits. Oh, no. That's different. That's different, Rod. That's really different. Al Gore, he was doing the right thing. Even though it was convoluted, it's still the right thing. And what these people are doing, these oil people, because they're using oil, it's oil they're using, which causes global warming, man-made global warming, even though it's cold outside. Because it gets really cold, that's because of global warming. And it's because you're burning all that oil. That's convoluted. You shouldn't be able to make a profit off of that. But Al made a profit off of trying to save the planet. Oh, so selling to Al Jazeera, his failed cable television venture, and making the man made a profit off of it. Can you believe that? What was the number? It was like 100. He profited $120 million or something like that. It was. It was more than a nine-figure sum that he got off of selling it to Al Jazeera. It was a failed attempt at a TV station, basically. Nobody. I mean, I think Al Gore's cable channel got fewer viewers than CNN, and that's saying something. But that's not convoluted, because he sold, instead of selling it to somebody who might have been able to actually do something with it. Air America. I mean, dude, can't give it. Can't sell it legitimately to a conservative or to a libertarian like Glenn Beck. No. He has to sell it to who? Oil people who support terrorists. There is no way around it. You liberal idiots, you liberal nut jobs, you cannot defend what Al Gore did in any possible way. So that's not convoluted. A shadowy group called the Donors Trust is largely funded by billionaire Charles Koch. Well, that's the problem. Our Charles Koch. That's the problem. Liberals hate the Koch family. And for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Ria Linda, that's Koch, but they pronounce it Coke. It's not Coke, as in the drink. Which, by the way, is going to be outlawed at some point. Look, don't doubt me. Mayor Doomberg is already limiting the size that you can buy, and there's this huge campaign against sugary soft drinks, and there's a huge campaign against the soda makers themselves, like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Look, why do you think they're divesting so much into making all other kinds of drinks? Look, they're trying to make cigarettes out in Oregon basically illegal, a contraband. So don't think that they're not going to try to come after your soda. They're already doing it. Why do people? I am always amazed when people say, "Well, I think you went a little too far, Rod." Really? Really? I told you, people, if you listen to this show from the beginning, I told you that if cigarettes were so bad and so evil and so dangerous to public health, why not make them illegal? And I said I probably shouldn't say that because that is exactly what they'll try to do. And they're proposing it in Oregon. I said they're going to come after your snacks next. You know, it's tobacco today, it's your snacks tomorrow, anything sugary, your candy bars, your potato chips, your soft drinks. What did Doomberg do? He attacked soda. And now the biggest drink that you can buy when you're out in the town in New York City is going to be 16 ounces. That's it. I mean, and that's dumb because, well, are they going to limit the number of 16-ounce bottles you can buy? Because if you want 32 ounces, all you got to do is buy 2 bottles. Well, wait a minute. No. You can only buy 1 bottle because there's only one of you. What are we going to have to start? What's next? A kid is not. They're going to get rid of soda vending machines. New York. Watch. Don't doubt me. And then they're probably going to they're probably going to say, well, our kids are too fat, so they shouldn't be able to buy a soda. You're going to need an ID and need to be 18 in order to buy a soda before too long. What? Unless this stuff is reversed by some true conservatives, don't doubt me on this. They're going to do it. So when it comes to the point that the Koch family is funding or is part of this group, of course they're going to zero in on it because they can't stand the Kochs. Why? Because, Kochs are in paper towels and oil, energy production. Yeah, paper towels are evil, man. They're just terrible. They cut down trees in order to make paper towels. Forget the fact that, it's kind of like Christmas trees. Remember the not too long ago, there was this environmentalist wacko bunch that was trying to gain traction to try to get people to stop buying live Christmas trees. Why? Because you had to cut down a tree. And it was contributing to what? Global warming. Don't go back and look and read it up. Google it. And then the industry, the Christmas tree industry, had to remind them and really forcefully remind Americans and other people that hey, we're farms. We're tree farms. Like any other crop, like any other commodity that's grown. We grow the tree. We cut them down. We plow up the soil. We plant new trees. It's a cash crop. That's what Christmas trees are. And then we found out, a real Christmas tree, even though it takes some energy to transport those things, they're still better than those plastic fake things. Yeah, because, fake Christmas tree sales at the beginning of the century and the end of the last century, they were going through the roof because of this false notion that real Christmas trees were contributing to global warming. And then we realized, well, fake ones are actually worse. Well, duh! So when somebody says that paper towels are evil, this is why. Forget the fact that these are usually tree farms, that they're getting the paper or they're getting the logs to make the paper towels from. Hello? Yeah, because we conservatives, we understand that that this is, you can't clear cut forever because you're going to run out of trees. We get that fact. So companies replant and do things called reforestation. I mean, but that doesn't matter. I could plant, if I cut down a tree, I can cut down a tree and say, and you're going to have an environmentalist wacko accuse me of being anti-environmental, even though I replaced the tree with 5 new trees that'll grow into 5 big trees to replace the one. Oh no, I'll still be the evil one. Well, this is the same thing with the Koch family, K-O-C-H. Doesn't matter what they do. They use energy. They make money off of energy. They're conservative. So a shadowy group, as they're called. As if they're running around in the back. Really? They're running around in back alleys, I guess. Staying in the shadows. The shadow knows. A shadowy group called the Donors Trust is largely funded by billionaire Charles Koch and his wife Liz Koch, according to an investigation by The Independent. The trust indirectly receives millions of dollars in funding from a third-party group called the Knowledge and Progress Fund, which the Koch family operates, the paper claims. Charles Koch and his brother David Koch are majority shareholders in Koch Industries, an immense conglomeration of oil and gas companies with a global reach and a definite interest in denying any link between fossil fuel use and climate change. Look, if there's another energy source out there, why is it coming to, if it really works, why isn't it coming to light? Because somebody's going to make a mint off of it. Unless, of course, it's just water. Which, basically, I think that's going to be the next real energy source. Is we're going to figure out how to really cheaply make hydrogen, and that's going to be the end of oil. But until then, well, we're still going to need oil, because oil is used in a myriad of products, including medicine. I can do without the food additives made from oil, but you know there are medicines that are made that are oil byproducts. There are plastics, the tires that you drive your vehicle on. Even your electric vehicle rides on rubber tires. Yeah, and you know what? We should call electric vehicles what they are. They're coal-powered vehicles. Because most of our electricity in this country is produced by either coal or natural gas. So they're coal. They're coal-powered cars. I don't see any of you, any of you wonderful Prius driving idiots recharging your car with solar panels. Now, sure, there are some of you out there, but the vast majority of you do not. You plug your car into the power grid, which gets us electricity. Now, the power grid is powered by coal and gas, and a little bit of nuclear. Oh well, no, you don't like nuclear either. But, and every time somebody wants to build a wind farm to give us clean energy, you environmentalist wackos, you block that too because it's gonna harm the birds. So, look, we had a billionaire who was trying to build wind farms down in Texas, but y'all got in the way. T. Boone Pickens, oil man, trying to switch to wind, and you wouldn't let him. So, of course, the Kochs are no idiots either. And they're not denying anything. They're just refuting what you're saying because what you're saying is not the truth. I asked a question on Facebook yesterday. I asked a question about or maybe it was 2 days ago, about government programs. I asked the question, other than the military, what government program or department out there does things better than the private sector? Nobody can give me an example of a government agency that works better and more efficiently than a private sector version of it could or does. And look, here's a reason. Here we go. Associated Press. Report. States. States like Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, California. States force jobless to pay needless fees. Oh, this is so sad. This is sad, sad, sad. And this is the government doing this now, not some mean, evil private entity, but the government. Jobless Americans are paying millions in unnecessary fees to collect unemployment benefits. The unemployed are paying fees that they can't afford to pay. Why? Because our government is forcing them to. Here's the story. Because of state policies encouraging them to get the money through bank-issued payment cards, according to a new report from a consumer group. Now, they'll probably fix this by forcing banks to give unemployed people free cards. Forget if it costs the bank any money to administer. Well, obviously, it costs money to make the cards. They're not free. And they're made out of plastic, by the way, which is an oil byproduct. Which is probably, benefiting the Cokes, the Coke family. And think about it. Your little debit card or credit card is made out of plastic, which is made from oil, which is, probably coming from the Coke family. So how do you think about that? Every time you use your little plastic card, instead of using paper money, you liberal idiot, you're supporting the Coke family. People are using the fee-heavy cards instead of getting their payments deposited directly to their bank accounts. That's because states issue bank cards automatically, require complicated paperwork or phone calls to set up direct deposit, and fail to explain the card fees, according to a report issued Tuesday by the National Consumer Law Center, a nonprofit group that seeks to protect low-income Americans from unfair financial services products. Financial services products that are being foisted upon them by the state, who's issuing a plastic card made from oil, which oil probably came from the Koch family. Just saying. Until the past decade, states distributed unemployment compensation by mailing out paper checks. Some also allowed direct deposit. The system worked well for people who had bank accounts and could deposit the check without paying a fee. It also cost the state millions of dollars each year to print and mail those checks. So why not just allow them to get a bank account? Oh, because that costs money. No, how expensive is it to... It's not expensive to do a direct deposit to a bank account. In fact, it's probably cheaper. No, it's definitely cheaper to do it that way, because then you wouldn't have to issue a plastic debit card, which is made from oil, which probably comes from the Koch family. Banks, including J.P. Morgan, Chase and Co. Now, do you folks get the irony in this? I mean, really, seriously. Do you people really do you get the irony in this? I mean, other than poor unemployed people being socked with these bank fees, the irony is absolutely beautiful. It's delicious. The problem is that even though I keep spelling this out, you liberal idiot nut jobs aren't going to figure it out. What the heck is he talking about? The state isn't supporting the Koch family. Well, the state is too, because they're issuing plastic debit cards. Plastic is made from oil. The oil is probably coming from the Koch family. Who's in oil? Well, that's, the Koch industry is heavily in oil. Oh, yeah, how else do I have to spell it out for you? Banks include. It also costs the states millions of dollars each year to print and mail the checks. So they're not having. Well, they don't have to. They don't have to mail a check if they give it to you to your bank account that you already signed up for. That's the problem. A lot of people that have bank accounts already that could utilize direct deposit, they're still being forced to get this overpriced debit card that is made from plastic, issued by the state, plastic that is made from oil, which probably comes from the Koch family. Well, hey, look, again, I say you people elected the dolts who then go out and hire and protect the bureaucrats that run the government systems that none of us seem to, government doesn't work for us anymore. How is forcing an unemployed person who has a bank account to pay user fees to get a plastic debit card, a card made out of plastic, which is a byproduct of oil, which probably comes from the Koch family, who's trying to destroy the planet. So in other words, the state government which is also being influenced by you wonderful wacko liberal nut jobs and environmentalist wackos who's saying oil is destroying the planet by causing global warming, the state is supporting the Koch family by forcing people not only to pay for something they shouldn't have to pay for, but by using a plastic card that is made from oil, which probably comes from the Koch family, and they're foisting it on more and more and more and more people. I repeat, the irony is delicious. And yet y'all liberal nut jobs don't get it. Which I'm not surprised. Because you never get it anyway, because you're too busy thinking with emotions and feelings instead of logic. Now, logically speaking, if you really wanted to save money, the government wouldn't pay to have plastic debit cards made, which are made out of plastic, which comes from oil, which is probably delivered by the Koch family. And then don't they also have to mail the cards? I don't think you pick it up at the unemployment office. So are they really saving any paper? No, they're still cutting down trees to make paper so they can make envelopes and all the paperwork that has to be done so you can get that plastic card made from oil, which is probably produced and supplied by the Koch family. I'm out of time for today, folks. We'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been the Rod Eccles Express. Catch you later.
Well, goodbye. And don't think it hasn't been a little slice of heaven, because it hasn't.
I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.